Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Trouble in Paradise and how we're fixing the rift. All right. So recently I had a Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition campaign break up, and we had 28 sessions, and the campaign broke up because there was serious friction between me and significantly one other player. And, our kind of beef, just like a rap beef, is very much like a rap beef. Like, just us flaring and a lot more, just like feathers ruffled more than any. Now, of course, Biggie and Tupac's rap beef went a little more than ruffled feathers, and there's quite a few others too. But it's very much a rap beef, like very evocative and colorful, but was there. But the reality, it actually ended the campaign, so there were like consequences, right? But now, just with like 4 or 5 weeks past the event, now I could see things a lot clearer, right? And so I'm saying this here to remind myself, and capture my thoughts on it, and to give you, and hopefully to give you a better chance of recognizing when these kind of issues are starting in your campaigns, right? And just kind of get fully the record straight. By the way, I love when people are like, this is what happened after 4 months. This is what happened after 8 months. This is what happened when because there's no data, and nobody's going to do any kind of studies on tabletop role-playing games. And even if they did, nobody would care, because they'd be like, your data shows one thing. Well, I don't trust your source. Done. Right? We're in this post data. But we can look for patterns. And so I'm trying to present evidence so that you could see patterns. All right, so here we go. All right, so now I see the problem, right? When I was in it, I couldn't see it. Neither one of us could see it, right? Actually, I think maybe my friend could see it, right? Like the person on the other side of this beef, right? One of my players was also a game master, right? So here's what happened, right? One of my players and another person in the game, but he was saying, hey, this isn't a serious game. This game is broken, right? And each week he would just say kind of negative things about the campaign. And I was okay. I was like, he's discontent, he's disgruntled with the game, right? What I realized what I realize now, looking back, especially now that he's come back to the table, and I'm seeing him in other campaigns, I realize he's not disgruntled and discontented, all right, with the game. He was disgruntled and discontented, period. Right? And he was expressing himself in a negative manner, trusting that his friend would read his frustration of overall life, right? And not even just like, oh, I had a hard week, or this is a hard year. That's an even better way to say it. Like, me and this other person, we're in exactly the same space, right? We never zeroed out since March 2020, right? So March 2020, the whole earth is rocked by the March 2020 problem that Joe Biden is trying desperately to solve right now. It looks like he's done nothing. It looks like we haven't moved a single inch forward. It's the world looks right now like it looks in 2020. It looks like the whole problem has just echoed over again, and everybody's like, well, wait, why is my arm sore? And 3 times, and now we're saying we got to put another thing in my arm, and it's horrific, right? And the reality is, both me and him, we're in the same boat. We never zeroed out. I look right, I look left. I see people who've been out of work. I look right, since March 2020. I look right, I look left. I see people who are quitting now, right? Like, me and him, never, not a day missed, right? And because of that, we were on point for our positions, right? And our, actually both of us are incredibly well employed by great employers, right? But the reality is, because the world has changed so much, all jobs, if you are just in your job, right, there's been incredible stress to deliver, right? And not just because others are dropping out, and it's harder and harder to hire everywhere, right? So what I realized was he wasn't disgruntled with the game. He was disgruntled with the situation overall, right? And it was manifesting as a comment here and a comment there, right? And I should have given him the space to say, to realize he's not disgruntled or discontented with the game. He's just disgruntled and discontented overall because we're living in a suck world right now, and it looks like we're 3 to 5 years from ever being back to where we were, if ever, right? And that's an incredible amount of strain on everybody, right? And I think everybody's like, and guess what? He actually communicated to me. Looking back, I can see it now, right? He kept saying, "Hey, I like the game. I like where we're at right now, right?" And this is why I'm so powerfully against talk to your players, right? Because the reality is, speech is so layered with nuance and so layered with so many messages, right? And when we receive speech, right, often we put an agenda or an intent or a meaning on it that doesn't exist there because of our own foibles, our own misgivings, right? So the reality is, the player was never disgruntled with the game and never discontent, right, with the game. They were just disgruntled and discontent with their life at that moment, and not even because their life at that moment was bad or there were undue burdens. It was just the world we're in is a sucking vortex of suck, right? And Biden seems to give no relief to it, to anyone, right? Like, from what I'm seeing, right? So I missaw this, I misconstrued it, and my player was even communicating to me during the issue that there wasn't an issue, right? But I just couldn't see it, right? Now I see it on the other side. And one of the things we're incredibly blessed is we lost our Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign. It ended, and now we're in new campaigns, and we even have a new Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign being run by a single DM, and we're all playing D&D 5e together. We're also playing Star Wars FFG together right now, right? And we just finished playing Genesis Shadowrun, and we just finished playing Index Card RPG Marvel DC. So we got a lot. So we're all at the table. We haven't lost a single person, right? And everybody's back. Everybody's in place. But it was a rough, rocky road, right? And so what's the lesson? How do we get past this, right? Well, it's tough. It's tough because the reality is there's just so much strain and so much pressure on everyone right now that it's hard, right now it's hard to run a perfect game and keep everything in place, right? And I think what we count as a victory is just staying together and playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition and other games, and making sure that we're always at a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition 51% or more ratio, right? It's our primary game, right? Now I have no problem with that. I just finished 18 months of straight D&D 5e play, right? So basically it's really fascinating, and so I just want to let you know we're all back. Everything, we really got past the problem. But my lessons are, one, we are flawed. We're all flawed, right? And I'm, more and more I look at this was more my fault than anybody else's, because I just, I was attaching agenda and intent to the person's words that just weren't there, right? Now, but the reality is, I do think there's, I don't know, I guess, I want to say excuse, but there's incredible pressure on everybody right now. So, and the best we can do, the victory we can have right now, is simply to not stop playing together, right? And maintain our table, right? And make the best games we can possibly make right now. So I just wanted to give you an update on that, and also just, I'm on your, virtually every day telling you, do it this way, right? So I really, transparency is important to me, right? If I'm not living up to what I'm putting down, that doesn't help anybody. So I'm just being transparent. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. And if you think there was a better way that we could have made it through without losing our 5e campaign, and I'd love to hear it. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a very wonderful millennium. Oh, and Merry Christmas to each and every one of you. And may you be blessed with wonderful Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition gifts, each and every one of you, brought to you by those who care about you most. Thank you.